back to another video, another upload by your one and only literary pharaoh. Had a great morning this morning. Woke up 3:35 in the morning. Brushed my teeth, used the restroom, got dressed. The wife and I both went for a run. This morning we ran about 1.5 miles. Well, probably about 1.25 miles. I wouldn't say 1.5 miles. Probably about 1.25 miles to the gym in the neighborhood. Just did biceps and some back workouts and abs, shoulders. And then after that, we ran back home. And the weather was nice. The weather was good enough for us to run this morning, so we took advantage of that. Usually it's been cooler in the mornings, and we don't run when it's cold outside like that. We would usually just drive to the gym. But today was a great day to insert cardio and some weightlifting into our workout regimen. So today it started off good. It was actually the first time I've ever did anything like that in the morning, that early, running that early to the gym. I've always ran and woke up and stuff like that and ran before, but not that early, not like at 4 something in the morning. It was really breathtaking and very, very therapeutic in the sense that you could hear nature as I was running. I didn't have my headphones blasting. I still wanted to be able to kind of absorb the sounds of my surroundings. I didn't want to have an animal creep up on me in the dark. There was lighting, but in certain areas that we ran in, it was sort of dark. My wife kept up with me. I didn't really run my normal speed. I did that intentionally because I didn't want to leave her behind. Usually when we run, she's way behind me, to the point where when I turn back, I don't see her anymore. So, but today I didn't want to do that. I kept a pace that was comparable to her pace. So we ran there. So overall, I think we would have done maybe 2.5 mile running somewhere, and did some weightlifting. So I think that was good. And the reason why I'm telling you guys that is because this is not to toot my own horn or anything like that. What we do isn't, if what we did was easy, then everybody would do it. All right. So yeah, there's a little bit of bragging when I talk about it, but it's not bragging to put anybody down. It's to say that if I can do it, anybody can do it. My wife was telling me that her and her coworker had a conversation at work, and her coworker was asking her, like, what do you feed your kids? That's how the conversation began. And my wife was telling her coworker what she fed the kids, and her coworker asked her, like, how do you get up so early in the morning to go to the gym? And my wife said, well, it's not me, it's my husband. When he gets up, hell, I got to get up. That's why it's very good in your life to be with somebody that has ambition, that has drive, that has discipline. Not everyone shares the same amount of discipline. I'm not saying that my wife is not disciplined, but she's not as disciplined as I am. She knows it. She'll be the first to tell you that. But she will follow. Okay? You have to find somebody that's stronger than you in something else. You don't want to be with somebody that's just like you. Whether it's your significant other, whether you have a close friend, be it male or female friend, you want to have somebody that's within your circle of influence, that's able to do things that you can't do. So therefore, that'll propel you to kind of get in their spectrum. It doesn't mean you're going to be exactly like them, because they have a certain forte and a certain strength that you lack. You can never be as good as them, but you can get in their wheelhouse. And if you get into their wheelhouse, then you'll be much better than you were without them, than you would be with them. So my wife is better with me because she can get up. Not because she's getting up on her own, because her husband gets up. So she feels like, well, shit, I got to get up. So that's the point that I'm making. And vice versa. There's certain times that I'm not thinking about a workout. And she'll say, oh, we're going to work out tomorrow. We're going to go for a run. And I'm like, shit, she's reminding me. So we kind of feed off of one another. There's certain times where I do get laxed, where I kind of want to continue to do the same routine that I normally follow. And my wife will interject, hey, you want to, she's sort of spontaneous in a way where she doesn't care about breaking routine. Hey, you want to try this? You want to try this different route? Or you want to try this exercise? And when she does that, I'm like, oh, well, come on, let's do it. So we feed off of one another, and you got to have that in your life. You got to have a heterogeneous mix with your significant other. In other words, you don't want to have the same person doing the same thing that thinks the same as you. And if you have that, your relationships and the things that you do become stale. It plateaus rather quickly, and you can't really excel or accelerate to the next level or onto the next level as you would want, as you would desire. So yeah, we did that this morning. So I just want to tell you guys that it can be done. You don't need a weight set. You don't need to spend hundreds of dollars on a gym membership. You can just run, go for walks, and eat right. Now, no, you won't see the significant changes happen overnight. You won't see it, but you will see it. No, before you see it, you're gonna feel it. You're gonna feel the change in your body. You're gonna feel the change. You're gonna feel the energy, and it's not easy, because if it was easy, everybody would go out and do it. But it's not the doing that you get the satisfaction from. It's the aftermath of the doing that you get the satisfaction from. In the process, you don't feel good. Actually, it's your mind. Psychologically, from a psychological vantage point, you're not really comfortable with doing something that's uncomfortable. But when you're in the middle of doing something that's uncomfortable, there's a certain psychological outlet that allows that certain anxiety that initially began in the mind to say, hey, you know what? I'm doing it. Oh, I'm doing it. Oh, I'm doing it. Oh, I'm almost done. Oh, I got, I have a little less than a mile left to run. Oh, I'm almost done. I'm out here. Because when you're in the middle of it, all you're trying to do is finish. You're not thinking anymore. And I think that the debilitating part of going to the gym or working out or creating some type of routine in your life that involves exercise or movement is that a lot of the times we defeat ourselves before we even begin. We tell ourselves all sorts of things. Oh my God, I gotta get up. This is gonna be hard. You start to just beat yourself up before you begin. My counter to that is just to do it. You know, the Nike logo, the Nike mantra, when it says just do it, just do it. Don't think, just go out there and do it. Doesn't matter how you look. Don't compare yourself to anybody else. Even if you're running extra slow, it's okay. If you can't run, walk. If you can walk, if you can't run, you can also jog. You don't have to sprint. You don't have to do what the Olympians do. Just move. We're not saying go to the extreme. Don't compare yourself to other people. Don't look at those magazines that have all sorts of fillers to make people look a certain way. Don't look at those Instagram models or Instagram bodybuilder people who just work out for a living. We're not talking about extreme exercise here. We're just talking about the simple routine of adding movement to your daily routine. Life is much more than going to work, drinking coffee, eating fast food, junk food, and just waiting to die, because that's what happens. When you imbibe upon the system and you allow the system to saturate you in its filth, cesspool of filth, then it's quite easy to see why so many people get sick, because the foods are toxic. We all know that. But if you're not doing anything to at least excrete some of those toxins out of your body through exercise and sweat, then you have no fucking chance. You're dead. You're just a dead person walking. Brain fog, lethargy, lack of enthusiasm. And all you're thinking about is the next chemical fix, because you become a dopamine addict, because all you can do is use food as a way to feel better. Where there are other ways to feel better that are natural and that are much more better for your biochemistry. And the natural way is just simple exercise. You release endorphins when you exercise. There's a certain high you feel when you're done working out. If you don't believe me, try it. Try going out for a workout where you actually stress your muscles and stress your cardiovascular system, and tell me how you feel afterwards. Yes, you're going to be tired. We get that part. I know you guys are immune to being uncomfortable. But once you do that, you're like, oh man, that felt good. You feel good. You have a sense of accomplishment. You feel like you've done something for the day. And when you start your day with a workout, the rest of your day is a breeze. Don't get stuck in this box of waking up, stuffing yourself with breakfast, going to work, eating chemicals, coming back like you're just slowly killing yourself. You have to break outside of the box and break outside of the construct embedded within the status quo of saying that you must wake up, you have to eat breakfast, drink your coffee, drive in traffic to work, and do it all again the next day. When do you have time to take care of yourself? You say, I am taking care of myself. No, the hell you're not. You're just doing everything you can to make it to the work as a industrial slave, as I am. We're all industrial slaves, and I'm not here to cast stones upon people, because whatever stones I'm throwing at you, I'm throwing it at myself. We're all industrial slaves because we all work. If you work for a wage or a salary or whatever you work, you are a slave, industrial slave. Even though that seems to be true, and that is true, it doesn't mean that you just abandon self. You still have to work on yourself. You still have to meditate. You still have to work out. You still have to be very deliberate in what you put into your mouth. Like yesterday, I came home from work. I didn't feel like it. I just wanted to just relax. But I knew that I wasn't really starving or hungry, but I said, you know what? I need to put something in my body that's nutritionally dense. So what did I do? I cut up some Swiss chard. I cut up some kale. I cut up some cabbage. I mixed it all up. And I cut up some onions. Put a little pink Himalayan salt on there. I used a little bit of cumin. Sprinkled in some paprika on there. And I sauteed vegetables. And I ate that. And I felt good. But it was a choice that I made. I'm not doing anything. Look, guys, I used to be the guy that, this was probably over like decades ago. And I'm giving my age here, but I'm not going to give my age. Like around the time when I was in college, I used to literally eat a box of cereal a day. I kid you not. I know you guys are thinking, no, he's lying, exaggerate. I am not exaggerating. I would literally, I wish there was a way for me to call my mom right now and put her on speaker and you guys can hear the conversation, but I can't because I'm using my phone camera to upload this video. I would literally eat a box, and cereal is the worst thing you can eat. I would eat a box of cereal a day. Not eating it like in different in one sitting. I would eat the whole box in one sitting. I would crush, my favorite cereal back then was Honey Bunches of Oats. And all that sugar, I was eating that shit thinking that, oh, if I just eat cereal once a day and I just eat an apple, I'm okay. That's the ignorance that I had. I didn't know any better. But I was addicted to sugar. I was the guy that would just eat a bunch of bread. Like everything that I see people do, apart from people who eat a bunch of fast foods, I never was a fast food like person. I wasn't big on McDonald's. I wasn't big on Burger King, Jack in the Box, Wendy's, all that. I didn't do all that. But what I did do was eat bad. And I saw the effects. And when I started to eat better, I also saw the effects. And I said, you know what? If it means that I have to do away with sugar and to put something good in my body and have a different feel, a natural high, that actually makes me feel better in the long run. Because I'm looking at the long game here. I'm not looking at the short game. The short game is just to put something in your body that tastes good. Emotional eating is the worst kind of eating. There needs to be logic infused in your decision, in your decision making when you decide to eat. You literally have to attack it as if it's a war, as if it's warfare, and it is warfare because it's in the realm of psychological warfare. You can't just say, I'm hungry, I deserve to eat. No, you don't deserve to do shit. What you do deserve to do is do something that's good for your body and do something that's good for your biochemistry and do something that's good for your mind. Just because you're hungry, it doesn't give you the right to just eat whatever the fuck you want to eat. That's the point that I'm trying to make. You can't say, oh, I'm hungry, my body is starving, I'm craving this, so I'm going to go get this. No, you can't go get that shit. I'm sorry that I'm cursing. I hate cursing, but I'm really passionate about this subject. You cannot do that. You owe it to yourself. You owe it to your ancestors. You owe it to your creator. Just because there's food on this planet doesn't mean that everything that's considered food is something that's going to be conducive to better health. As a matter of fact, the opposite is true. It's destructive to your health. You can't stuff burgers and fried chicken in your body daily and think that you're going to be okay. You can't do that. You can't wash that shit down with alcohol and sugary drinks and think that you're gonna be fine. There's no way in hell. You have to take the lesser of two evils. I understand that the air is polluted. I understand that we have microplastics everywhere, nanoplastics. We understand that. We understand that the soil right now is being stripped of all its nutrients. We get that. We understand that farming in its most pristine state is more in theory now than it is something that's practical or something that can be practiced in reality. We understand that the contaminants or the toxins that we're riddled with is so overwhelming that farming in its most pristine state is hard. But it doesn't mean we abandon that either. So if you tell me you can either eat processed foods or eat fruits and vegetables, I'll take fruits and vegetables, even though the fruits and vegetables still have some contaminants in them. Because just because you get something that's organic doesn't mean that the industry, the Food and Drug Administration, they regulate certain chemicals to still be used on those things that they deem to be organic. So if you want the organic sticker or the organic labels placed upon your vegetables, you still have to acquiesce to whatever they want you to use. And some of those chemicals that they want you to use are still not good for you, but they deem it to be organic. All right? Fortunately for me, in the neighborhood I live in, we have a farm. There's a farm in the neighborhood. All right? That's one of the amenities in the neighborhood I lived in. I worked very hard to move into a neighborhood like this. The crops that they grow, like the Swiss chard that I ate, that I made yesterday when I came back from work with the kale, I smelled it. I smelled the difference between their conventional growing methods versus the methods used by, like, where Whole Foods gets their organic vegetables from. They'll have the label that says organic. Now, if I read the sign that says organic and I get the vegetable and I smell the kale, or I smell the Swiss chard, or I smell whatever leafy green that I want to eat, it still has that chemical smell on there. So I know that something has been sprayed on those vegetables. I'm not an idiot. When I get the vegetables from my farm and in my neighborhood, the guy spoke with me. We had a conversation. He told me, he says, the conventional way that we grow our crops here are actually truly organic, but we cannot have the label organic on our stuff because the Food and Drug Administration, in order to have that label, you have to go through their system, and their system requires you to have certain chemicals on your shit. So in a way, there's no such thing as pristine crops, but I'm coming close to that in my neighborhood because the conventional way of growing crops, you shouldn't have any smell on it. It should just smell like nature and dirt. It shouldn't have chemicals on it. And that's what the vegetables in my neighborhood are. They're comprised of not having the blemish of toxins plastered to the leaves and into the greenery. They don't have that. They don't have what the system requires you to have the organic label. So I say that to say this, because you have some people who give that damn excuse, well, we're all gonna die anyway, everything's killing us. Yeah, we understand that, but in the process of your death, try dying with some fucking dignity and dying in a way where you live with all your faculties intact, where you live to your higher self. There's no way that you can live to your higher self when you're constantly drunk, when you're constantly feeding for sugar, because you're a sugar addict. Sugar is a drug. And I put alcohol and sugar in the same mix because they're both addictive. They're both bad for you. They're both, especially the processed sugars, like the high fructose corn syrup, the dextrose, the maltodextrose, all those alextrose, those things that end with a tros or os. So many freaking words that you can't even pronounce them. Those are just, sugar is already bad because the molecule of sugar, sugar is sugar. Whether you get sugar from a fruit or sugar from a cereal, all sugars have the same molecule. The difference with you getting sugar from a fruit is a fiber that's infused with the sugar molecule. So it sort of mitigates the effects of the sugar molecule in your system. Whereas when you're eating sugar in processed foods, there's no fiber there. And number one, not only do they have the normal sugars that have the same molecules, they also have processed sugars, which takes on a whole different form. So you're getting sugar on a on an exponentially higher toxic level than you would if you're getting sugar from a basic fruit. So yeah, you can't tell me that eating bad and eating good is the same way, because we're all gonna die anyway. That's just people's excuse not to do better. Because if you know better, you do better. But people love to wallow in their ignorance, and they love to just live in a state of comfortability, even if that state of comfortability is at their own personal expense, and that own personal expense is their health. They're not gonna live very long. They're gonna die a painful death. All right? They're gonna look unhealthy. They're gonna become slaves of the pharmaceutical industry or slaves of the medical industry. So yeah, what I'm telling you guys, anybody can do it. You just have to make the conscious decision of, what am I gonna eat? I understand you want pleasure, but you're not owed that shit. Who told you that you deserve pleasure? You don't deserve that. Get right. You know what you do deserve is to take care of yourself. That's what you deserve. When a child is born, right? When a baby is born, it craves nutrients, and it gets that nutrients from its mother's breast milk. The child isn't thinking about taste. The child is thinking about, what do I need? Sustenance. What does my cells need? What are the needs of my cells? What are the needs of my body? And I'm sure breast milk has a little bit of sweetness, I've heard. Okay, I get that. And I'll get it has a good taste to it. But it's not the taste that the child is seeking. There's an internal biochemical clock, a biochemical agent within the system that craves certain nutrients. And that baby knows that nutrient, the mind, everything is working together in conjunction. It's telling that baby that what my mom has in her breast is fulfilling me. It's not about being full or being gluttonous. It's about getting what your cells need to keep you operating at your most optimal state. So come on, guys, we got to do better. And if you think you're doing better, a good test is to just look at yourself in the mirror. Look at your skin. All right? Look at your hair. Look at your teeth. Smell your breath. If your breath smells like shit, it's because you have bacteria built up in your body because you're eating too much meat. You don't floss. You have all sorts of junk in between your gums that's been sitting there for months. Are you taking a shit every day? At least twice a day. If not twice a day, at least once a day. If you're not, then you're full of shit. That means you're backed up. So your breath's gonna stink. When you sweat, you're gonna stink. We all have a certain odor when we sweat, but you're really gonna stink when you sweat because your body is trying to find a way to excrete those toxins because you keep stuffing yourself with toxins and bad chemical agents. Take care of yourself, people. I know people want to buy a Mercedes Benz, they want to buy a Range Rover, they want to buy BMW. Those are all external things. I'm driving a Hyundai Accent, but you know what? You can laugh at me and say, "Oh, he's driving this small car." And I have an Audi at home. But that's not the point. The point is not to talk about what kind of car I have. I'm trying to make a point here, insert some sort of parallelisms with talking about my vehicle. In this car, anybody, an outsider looking in would say, "Oh, that guy is broke. He's a grown man driving in a small 4-door sedan, a Hyundai Accent." Yes, indeed. Externally, yes, it looks that way. But my body and internally, I'm a Maybach. I'm a Maybach. For my age and the way I look, I'm a Maybach. You say, what do you mean I'm a Maybach? Well, I'm not driving a Maybach. I'm driving a Hyundai Accent. But the way I feel and the way I look, I'm Maybach. See, you may be driving your Maybach. You may be driving your Benz and BMW, but you look like a Corolla, or you look like a Nissan, or you look like what do they call that car? Mitsubishi. You look like that. In other words, people are so focused on the external, chasing money, trying to look a certain way, not look a certain way, but look a certain way. They're letting the outside shape their look. Well, no, I'm backwards. I'm inverted, but inverted in the right way. I'm letting the way I look dictate how you look at me. if you're going to judge me on what I have, you're going to be sadly mistaken, because I'm making a choice to get certain materials that are not too expensive, that are within my budget, and using most of my income to focus on my health, my diet, my workouts. Simplicity is the key to success. It's not getting in line with what everybody else deems important. I mean, you do that, you become a follower. And if you become a follower, you end up having the same diseases and the same symptoms as everybody else has. You'll get sick often, brain fog. I mean, that's why I run circles around my coworkers at work. You say, well, what do you mean run circles? Not physical running circles. I'm talking about work being done. Everybody is waiting for 11:30 or 12 for lunch. I'm getting things done. While they're eating lunch, driving out to find drive-throughs for their fast food fixes, I'm getting work done. And then after they eat, now they have no energy. But that's counterintuitive though, right? I thought when eating is supposed to give you more energy. No, it doesn't. Eating actually, the more you eat, the more calories you eat. Do your own research. You don't even have to believe me. The more you eat, actually, it's inverted. What you've been told is we've been told lies. Everything we've been told has been all told in reverse. The more you eat, the quicker you die. You say, what do you mean? Well, the more calories you eat, the more your body has to generate energy to burn those calories. It's sort of like a car. A car can last longer the less you use it. All right? There's an engine within everybody's molecular structure that produces certain enzymes to break down those calories that you've consumed, right? Now, I'm not telling you not to eat. Eat. But this idea that you need to wake up, eat breakfast, then eat brunch, and after brunch, eat lunch, and after lunch, you eat dinner. No, you eat dinner, then after dinner, you eat supper. That's bullshit. They tell you that you're supposed to snack between meals. No. You're supposed to just eat fucking once a day. Literally. Once a day. At best. At worst. At minimum, twice a day. How many times do dogs eat? Once. If you have a pet fish at home, how many times do you feed your pet fish? Once. Animals in the wild. Do you see lions and tigers or whatever? Do you see them eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner? You see them eating like that? Who came up with that fucking concept anyway? To eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner? Who made that up? You have to ask that question. Who made that shit up? Yeah, it's the industry. Because they understand that in order to keep people sick and dying, we need to make sure they eat a lot. And the more they eat, they become more dependent on us to be the remedy of their problems. So we're going to provide them a problem, then also provide them the alleged or the supposed solution. Never dealing with the cause, just dealing with the surface symptoms that send them back out there to continue the same practices that brought them back in the hospital in the first place. So that's the way it works. You're supposed to eat once a day, folks. You'll have more energy. The more you eat, the less energy you have. I know it sounds stupid. You don't have to believe me. I'm the dumb black guy driving in my car. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Don't believe me. Continue to eat as much as you want. Wake up in the morning, eat your breakfast, keep doing what you do. I'm a standing example of everywhere I've worked. They say the same thing. I've heard people say to me multiple times, too many times. People will tell you the truth if you listen. I wasn't paying attention at first because I was just doing it as my eating regimen. I was doing something called intermittent fasting. I would have a certain time of the day, but people would come up to me saying, how do you keep going? You haven't eaten all day. I'm looking like, well, you're right. How do I keep going? So I started to look into that. The truth is, the less you eat, the more energy you have. Because the body, I'm going to explain to you how. The body puts you in a state that's called survival mode, right? So right now, if somebody put a pillow over your nose, your natural instinct is to start to fight back because you want to breathe. You're in survival mode. You start to have energy that you didn't have because you want to get that person off of you. Because your body needs the oxygen to function. It's a natural response. It's not even impulsive. Well, it's impulsive, but it's not something that's voluntary. You just start to just fight back because you want to breathe. When you starve the body of calories, coupled with eating, all right, coupled with eating correctly and eating foods that are nutritionally dense, that are filled with phytonutrients, okay? If you're not eating a lot, your body is always in survival mode, because survival mode means that that's the mode that we're all supposed to be in to operate to our optimal state, or operate at our optimal state. We're supposed to be in survival mode, because living is surviving. Living is not sitting on your ass being gluttonous. That's dying. Against popular cultural belief is to eat, and the more full you are, the more satiated you are, then you're living. No, you're dying when you're too comfortable and you're too full. When you're living in survival mode, your cells are operating on 10. They're all shooting at the highest capacity that they're supposed to shoot at, because they don't have anything that's requiring them to convert enzymes or generate some type of enzymatic response to break down food chemically. There's nothing to break down. So you're pure to operate optimally, because there's nothing that's gonna impede the process of your cells pushing you to optimize your essence or optimize your experience in living. And no matter what you're doing, whether you're thinking, there's no brain fog there. There's no food to interrupt that. Nothing comes in the way. So the cells are not obstructed of doing what they're supposed to do. There's no impediment there. It's just straightforward survival mode, right? There's nothing blocking me from doing what I want to do. When your body is in survival mode, you have more energy. What happens when you're just jogging? You're just jogging. But what happens if I put a dog after you that's coming at you with intent to cause harm? That jog turns quickly into a sprint, because you are in survival mode. See, survival mode allows you to operate at your best self, or at your best capacity. It doesn't mean you're going to turn into Usain Bolt, but it does mean that you're going to push yourself to go further than you normally would. So when you're not eating, stuffing yourself throughout the day, your body does it for you. You're thinking, it's not something that you have to do physically. Psychologically, biochemically, genetically, everything in your body starts to work in a certain way. The neurotransmitters in the brain starts to shoot off these impulses. The dopamine receptors of the brain, everything starts to function the way it's supposed to function. The neural receptors of the brain, everything just clashes. And they clash in a good way. When I say clash, it's not a negative thing. They clash, meaning that they hit in a point where you can now operate at your best self, or operate better than you normally would. Now, the first couple of days that you try it, it's going to be difficult, because it's a mind over matter thing, because you're so focused on food. Once you get over the point where you're not even fucking worrying about food anymore, then nothing's going to stop you. Then you start to eat at the right time, not eating emotionally. You have to be disciplined, folks. That's all I'm saying. We're disciplined in everything else in life. We wake up because we have to go to work. That takes discipline. You set your timer, you wake up, you have your same routine, you get your coffee, you get your breakfast, you stop at Starbucks. You guys have your own routine. Everyone has their own routine. But that takes discipline to follow that regimen. Why not have discipline in what you put in your mouth and when you put that in your mouth? Not just you eating, what you eat. Okay? Not just eating, it's what you eat, when you eat it, how much you eat it, and then repeating the process again. With exercise. With exercise. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and say, you don't need to work out, just eat right. That's a lie. You need to work out too. But if you ask me which one's more, it's not just asking me. Ask anybody that deals with the human anatomy or deals with exercise and nutrition. They'll tell you that any workout that you do, any workout regimen that you put yourself on, 75 to 80% of your results is your diet. But the workout is needed. The diet is like the cheat code. So the diet part is the easy part. Working out is supposed to be the hard part, right? Oh, I gotta get up and run. I gotta go lift weights. I gotta do my HIIT workouts. I have to do this. Okay, no, that's actually the easy part. Because it's not you going 150% in your workout or going 200% and killing yourself to see results. It's just being active to the point where you feel a burn. Okay? There are plenty of times when I work out, I stop when I can't go anymore. I stop, catch my breath, and go again. I'm not looking at myself as a failure because I didn't go all the way like other people. I'm not comparing myself to anybody else because I know I have the cheat code. After I work out, I know what I'm going to put in my body. I know when I'm going to eat. I know that these foods are going to accentuate or speed up the result that I'm looking for from my workout. Stop drinking energy drinks too. Those energy drinks are poisons. They're fucking toxic. I don't know why people even do that. You see people in the gym just chugging down energy drinks as if that's supposed to be a cool thing. You might as well just sit your ass at home. Don't even come to the gym if you're going to be drinking energy drinks. What the fuck are you doing? Energy drinks? I don't understand it, man. There's something really wrong with our people, but I don't blame you guys because I was once there. You're in a mall. You're in a world and you're inundated with so much filth and toxic things around you that are sold to you as something that's going to be a resource to you, something that's going to provide some sort of resolution to your problem. And you feel like, okay, these people are well-intended. They're making these things to make my life better. No, they're actually making these things to make you sicker. Because these people know, the controllers, they understand that if you leave the human body alone, that the human body alone is a superpower. We're all superheroes in the sense that we all have powers. Just like you watch the movies, you see Incredible Hulk, or you see Superman or Spider-Man. Our bodies are like that. Our bodies can heal themselves. If you leave the body alone, which allows us to function at our optimal state, it goes back to what I was talking about when I said survival mode. If you don't put toxic things in your body and you drink mostly water, you're going to be fine. And just eat a bunch of leafy greens, eat things that grow from the earth. Just try for a week and tell me how you feel. Then you're going to come back saying, damn, I tried that, man. You're right. I know I'm right because I did it. I'm not telling you something I'm not trying to sell you a product. I don't gain anything from you listening to me. You know that, right? I'm not trying to sell you a pill. I'm just selling you common fucking sense. And it's free because we're all born with it. But somehow along the way, we've allowed the system to rob us of common sense. And they've infused us with all sorts of bullshit thinking. And we think that the system is going to put things in stores that are going to make our lives better. No, they're putting things in stores to kill our natural essence. Our natural essence is fabulous. It's marvelous. It's incredible what we can do when we're left alone. When we're left alone. We're so powerful that immediately a child is born, they already start injecting it with chemicals. And they call it medicinal vaccines because you need it. Leave the body alone and watch the body thrive. And if you do put anything in it, make sure that whatever you put in it is natural. Meaning something that grows from the earth. You don't need all those energy drinks. You don't need 5-hour energy. You don't need Red Bull. It doesn't give you wings. It doesn't give you anything. It may give you a short-term burst of energy, but think long-term. Think of the long end game here. What is it going to do for me in the long run? Your body is the energy source. Your mitochondria is the energy source, not Red Bull. Your body has everything that you need. What the industrial system has done, they've taken the natural things of the human anatomy. They're trying to, not that they're trying to, they actually are doing it. They're basically replicating or trying their best to duplicate what you already have, but doing it in a way that's very dangerous and toxic to your own natural ability. So they're not replicating something to give you something to mesh with what you already have, because it can't. When something's pure, when something is kosher and pure and already in its most pristine state, there's nothing more that you can do to make it more pristine. It's already in its best state. It's already perfect. You're already made perfect. You're wonderfully made. That's where they get that term from in the Bible. It's not about God. I'm wonderfully made in the image of God. It's not that bullshit. I mean that the way we're created from a biochemical perspective, we're made perfect, so that you don't need to add anything to perfection. All you need to do is continue to sustain it, to keep it in its perfect state. How do you sustain it? By eating things that are natural. Dr. Sebi talked about this. You guys know this. I'm not telling you guys what you don't know. I'm just trying to motivate you to do it. You know it, you just don't want to do it because you are a slave of sugar. You're a drug addict. People are drug addicts, but no one wants to admit it. You don't have to be on crack cocaine or be on heroin or be on meth or be on fentanyl to be a drug addict. Yes, those are drugs, and those are the drugs that people talk about the most, and they get most of the attention. I get it. Sugar is also a drug. Did you know that? It is. People are addicted to it. That's why people have diabetes. You see the symptoms. The symptoms, behavior shows you what something is. It's just sugar is just legalized. They put it in foods. That's the way the industry makes its money, by processing these foods and stuffing them with sugar to keep you coming back to the store, giving the foods in the store a longer shelf life. Because if they had a short shelf life, they would have to discard it. They don't want to lose money. They want to make money. But it's not even about your health. It's about the industry getting what it needs. So when they say that money is the root of all evil, it's not that it's the root of all evil. It's the cause of most evils. Because people are not thinking about human beings. They're thinking about profit by any means necessary. If I need to poison people to make my money, I will. But I'm going to put it underneath the guise of nutrition and call it food, where they know that that's the furthest thing from the goddamn truth. It's not food. It's poisons. You're eating poisons. It's no different than eating a sandwich that's made with a little bit of arsenic, but just a little bit of arsenic that won't kill you, that you won't taste, but it's just a little bit in there. You don't feel it. You don't die after you eat the sandwich. You feel fine. Actually, you feel great. But you continue to eat that sandwich with arsenic that's in it, over time, you will die. It's just a slow way of killing you. And then robbing you of your essence, robbing you of your power, robbing you of your pristine state. I'm going to leave it there, folks. I want you guys to digest the things that I just said. Leave a comment to me what you guys think. But guys, don't give me, I don't want to hear excuses from anybody. When I'm around people and they're talking about how they can't work, how they do this, I get quiet because I don't want to sound like a jerk. But one thing they better not do is ask me a question. Because if they ask me a question, they're not going to like the answer that I'm going to give them. Again, that's the video. Leave a comment. Tell me what you guys think. And I'll be uploading another one. Till next time, guys. Peace. And remember, your health is your wealth.